Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. This show is sponsored by Kids Keep in Touch Systems, a two-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals, as well as REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. Learn more about our sponsors by visiting my site, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of my book, The Ultimate Marketing Bundle, as well as learn more about our one-to-one coaching and keynote speaking. Today's episode is number 263. Now, quick disclaimer just before we get started. We referenced episode 262 several times throughout this show, but it is actually number 263. Enjoy. Wow, what a year it has been. Go figure, we are already at the end of 2023. I don't know if it's been a good year, if it's been a bad year. I mean, and you could look at markets and you could say that markets were good. No, you can't. No, you totally can't. No, I think that there's been some positives in the stock market along the way. I think there's also been some positives in the real estate market along the way. I think on the overall, it's been a tougher year for most people when it comes to finances. When it comes to what's really going on out there in the world with regards to economics. Look, we came off of some life-changing, earth-shattering, things going on in our world, sort of at the 2020 kind of time frame, led into about 2 or 3 years of just awkwardness. And then, of course, with this whole adage of what goes down must go up, or what goes up must go down. Yes, I said that backwards, but sort of very much on purpose. A little bit of optimism there. I mean, I guess it depends how you look at that one. But lots of good things happened this year amongst the change in the normalcy, or in the hype, let's call it, of what the market was. And if we really get specific to our industry, when we come into the world of real estate, the world of mortgages, the world of sales, the world of communicating with other people, the world of helping people with the biggest assets of their entire life. Yes, it was not the fire sale. I keep bringing that up. I don't know if you saw the recent video that I put out there, $14 million mansion, which was burnt down the other day. And, nobody knows what happened. Yet we see 4 guys running down the side of the house with jerry cans. But again, a sign of the times right now, right? A lot of people got involved in properties during the pandemic. I tried to stay away from that word. But they got involved in properties that they couldn't afford, and now they're here. Whether they're in that property yet, and it is a home they're living in, and they're just their mortgage they're watching as the rates are up, and their mortgage is just becoming more and more unaffordable as the months go by. There's less cash in the bank to be able to carry this. People have to get out. We're seeing people who bought new construction that are still not in the new construction that are trying to find ways out. We're seeing people who've got listings on the market who are experiencing something called underbidding. And now we've got this term called underbidding. It used to be that people were making an offer. Then we got so used to this whole thing of like multiple offers and over asking and prices shooting $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 north of where they should be. Then now we've got this term called underbidding. And I mean, it speaks for itself, right? It's pretty straightforward. You got a listing at X and people are offering, less than X, and now they're underbidding on the property. Well, but should the property be listed at that to begin with? Yeah, but look at comparative sales. Look at the market. No, I understand. But again, we've really got to take the bigger picture and to put it in the picture here and think to ourselves, what should that property be worth? Now, there can only be so low of a bottom that we don't impact the market to a point that we bring values down across an entire city. Although they are coming down, again, there's got to be some sort of slow pace to that. Otherwise, if it's too hot and heavy, obviously people are going to be totally screwed. But it's been a crazy year, right? It's been a different year, just overall for everybody. Again, as I said it a moment ago, when it comes to the economics. But we'll get into that in a moment, because this is our final episode of season 5 of the Mindshare podcast. This is episode 262, as I mentioned. And as we break from this one, we're going to go enjoy a few days. We're going to go celebrate the new year. And we're going to get ready to do it all over again. Now, you might be thinking, oh, man, I don't want to do this again. Well, guess what? C'est la vie, as we say. Now, just before we get into that, let's look back for a quick moment. I've been doing this on my solo episodes lately. I've taken a quick look back to see who's been on the show over the past few weeks, and just getting maybe a sense of what did they talk about, and what do you need to know, and did you listen to it? Did you not listen to it? But a few weeks back, we had Steve Tabrizi. He's an owner of Remax Hallmark in Ontario. They're I think the largest Remax office there is, and I would say that's in terms of volume of agents. But he and I talked about what makes a top producer a top producer. And again, when we think about a top producer, this is somebody performing at a very high level, somebody who's doing a lot of business, somebody who's got a really, really strong business running, right? And just seems to have, be at that high level on a consistent basis, right? More money in their pocket, more deals, in their belt, more awards on their shelf. And we talked about that. And we went through a whole bunch of different things that again, top producers do. And it really came down to habits. It came down to mindset. It came down to preparation and dedication and commitment to what it is that you want. And oftentimes, most people just don't have that in them. They have the drive to want it, but they haven't got the drive to do it. So he and I really broke that down to understand, what are those characteristics of a top producer? What are those things that they do on a daily basis that make them that? So I encourage you to tune into that episode for sure. If you've got aspirations of again, getting to your next level, you might already be a top producer. You're like, well, hey, I want to be a top producer. I don't fault you for that. I want to be as well. So I'd say go check out that recent episode. What makes a top producer a top producer? Then we had Tatiana Londano. She is the broker owner of Londano Realty out of Montreal, Quebec. And her and I talked about how to build a $1 billion real estate business. Now, she's an immigrant. She came to Canada a number of years ago, with her family and tells us a story about how they came from nothing. She grew up with not a lot, and she had aspirations to grow and to build and to become who she is today. And she is incredible. She's got a ton of energy. She runs an incredible business. She's incredibly confident. Lots of great ideas to get out there. And again, help you build a $1 billion real estate business. You can check her out on TikTok, check her out on Instagram. She's got, millions of followers, hundreds of thousands, I think, on Insta, and I think over 1 million on TikTok, something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but she's been doing a great job with video, and that's something you could take from her. She's got her own, again, style in the way she does things. And like each of us, and I know even for me, I say it all the time, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I don't really like tea anyways, so whatever. But I think you'll enjoy the episode for sure. Again, she had some good stories to tell. Pretty motivating. And then recently we had a gentleman by the name of David Shamzad. And David's out of Berkeley, California. Was diagnosed with bipolar disease, went through a bout of manic depression, got close to taking his own life. In fact, he tried. And now he's on a mission. He's a mental health advocate. And if you know me and you've been, following me for some time, you've heard me talk about mental health from time to time. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. For reasons, the fact that I've had, I've got a family member that's bipolar. Moreover, for me, I think it's one of these things that people suffer with in silence. I mean, we know that, but we don't talk about enough. We don't help enough, And I maybe on the opposite of helping, I think we compound the problem with social media and with all of this go in life and, trying to keep up with the Joneses. And I think that people just go into dark places. And I believe that this connectivity that we've got through these phones and through these, online medias is just amplifying the issue for so many people. And I think it's sad. I think a lot of people deal with it. And I think that, if we all can pay more attention to, folks around us that are dealing with that, provide the space for people to be able to talk about it without it being a stigma, without somebody looking weak. I think there's strength in the fact that people can talk about it. And this is again, something that I really stand behind. We make a big deal of it for sort of a day, a year, when it's that time, because, sheeple mentality again. But I just believe it's something that we should be talking about 365 days a year. Looking at the people around us that we know are having maybe some issues. Maybe overall, it's you don't even know that they're doing that, but you just want to be a happier person for other people, right? Because we don't know what people are dealing with. You don't know why that person might have honked at you on the road, or why they did that thing. You were standing in line at a store. Like, we don't know what people are going through. And oftentimes when something happens, everybody takes it as a personal attack, but it's not always about that. There's deeper rooted issues. Anyhow, David and I spoke about that and how to, really deal with the emotional ups and downs of running your own business, right? Because as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson, you're very much alone on a regular basis. And we talked about that, the mindset. He, in fact, shared some incredible practices that he does to help him get through the tough times. And I'll just give you a little tip to that one. It was, when I asked him, I said, like, when do you do this? How do you do this? He compared it to sports. He practices. He says, in fact, when I'm feeling incredible and everything is perfect, that's the moment I realize I need to practice. He goes, because when it happens, the game is on and I need to be ready. Now, me, being a sports guy, I completely understood that analogy. I thought it was amazing. So he gives some tips about what you can do on a regular basis to just keep yourself sharp, to remind yourself, how to deal with a situation that you may not feel so good about, to remind you what to do in a moment where you're feeling really, really down. Your emotions get the best of you, your anger maybe, your frustration, your anxiety, anything. Anyhow, tune into that episode with David Shamzad. And then most recently, in fact, last week, we had my birthday buddy. And you might be like, you're what? Yeah, this gentleman and I actually have the exact same birthday. We were both born on January 17th, albeit a few years apart from each other. Just want to put that out there. He came first. But Mr. Ray Ferris, Realtor Ray Ferris, as he's known on Instagram, past president of OREA in 2016, just an incredible guy, well known and well respected across the real estate industry. He was on the show with us. He's been going around over the past number of months teaching the entire industry about TRESA, the Trust in Real Estate Services Act, which came into effect, Phase 2 came into effect on December 1st, 2023, is now in full effect. And people need to know what this is all about, need to understand what they're dealing with. And again, Ray is the guy. He's the one that's been telling everybody about what's going on. So we were fortunate enough to fit into his schedule. And to be graced with his presence, and I say that in all sincerity, I think he's a great guy. We've gotten along, we've known each other for many, many years. But he took the time to join us on the Mindshare podcast. And in true Mindshare form, we had a very, blunt, to the point conversation. TRESA can have some, convoluted stuff within it. It could be a little bit difficult for some people to understand. The reality is Ray came on, him and I had a good discussion. And so again, I want to recommend and encourage you, go over to iTunes or go to my website, mindshare101.com. Tune into that episode with Ray if you want to know more about TRESA. So if you are in the real estate industry, you know what? In fact, not just in the real estate industry, but if you are a homeowner, I encourage you to listen to this because it's going to tell you as well what your new options are when it comes to buying and or selling real estate here in the province of Ontario. Now, for those of you that are not from Ontario, I do want to say that a lot of these things across Canada in some provinces have already been put into effect. We know, again, if you're a listener down south of the border, one of our friends down there, again, you've got some different ways that business gets done down there as well. But always interesting to learn about the differences and what's coming down the pipe. Because, of course, as the U.S. does something, Canada does something. As Canada does something, sometimes the U.S. does something. And, we really operate in a big North American bubble. And And I would take that as far as to say, like even what went down with NAR on that $1.8 billion lawsuit. Again, change is coming to the way, buyers agents get paid, like the commission structures, right? And Tressa kind of talks to some of that. So tune into that episode with Ray Ferris. But, some amazing guests over the past a number of weeks. And I'd say, all year long, we had some awesome guests join us on this show. And we were totally fortunate. Now, I'll also throw this one out there. And by the way, forgive me that today, don't forgive me. I mean, I got a nice hot coffee, got my coffee mug going, got the mic going. It's just you and me on today's podcast. And so every once in a while, I'm going to take a quick stop and have a nice swig of coffee. Anyways, great guests. That's where I was going with that as I took my coffee. For those of you that have been listening for some time, I do want to also throw it out there to you that not only do we love when you rate and review the show, if you've got suggestions for guests, if you got suggestions for topics, anything of that, you can email anytime to info@mindshare101.com. I would also, recommend, hey, go to Instagram, David Greenspan 101, send me a DM. Hey, Dave, would love to be on the show, or hey, this person would be great. That topic would be great. I'd love to hear more about this. We love hearing feedback from our listeners. It's always super, super helpful because we want to continue to deliver. And I want season 6 in 2024. Can't even believe we're talking about that. To be absolutely incredible for you. Now, before we get to 2024, let's look back on 2023, because I started on this when I started the episode today about talking about the tougher year, the tougher economy that we're in right now. It has been a tougher year in real estate. Rates are up. Inflation is up. Groceries are through the roof. In fact, the other day, I'm talking to Jennifer and I'm going through the credit card statements. And, I'm like tied to my desk on a regular basis. I'm always with clients, doing stuff, working. Then I get these credit card statements, and they're just like line by line by line by line. And I'm going, what is she doing? But all jokes aside, and sincere respect to my wife when I say this, I look at the statements, and like they're all groceries. You got the odd gasoline payment in there, the odd whatever. But it's not like she's out at the malls, gallivanting, shopping, buying all sorts of stuff. I mean, Amazon loves us. But outside of that, like seriously speaking, we're not spending on stupid stuff. In fact, we're not really spending on a lot of the wants. It's needs. And so as I go down this list and I'm looking at the cost of groceries, it's astronomical. And she tells me stories how, like, again, the bag of apples used to be, I don't know, $4. Now it's like $8. The whole chicken is like $30 when it used to be $20. I mean, we're seeing prices go through the roof on everyday consumables, stuff that we need to survive. And I say we, including you, us, all of us. So anyways, I'll bring this up to her. I'm like, honey, this is crazy. How many times do we have to go to go shopping, grocery shopping in a week? So the other day, I'm in the kitchen, I'm, there, and she turns to me, she goes, hey, open the fridge. I'm like, okay. I open up the fridge, and the fridge is like, when I say empty, obviously, like, it's not empty, but like it's empty. She goes, look. I'm like, wow. Shelves were like pretty bare. She goes, what are we missing? And I started looking. I'm doing this like mini inventory. Now, like disclaimer, I don't go to the grocery store. I don't go shopping. I get anxiety going to those grocery stores. She's like, go pick up some cream cheese. I'm like, oh man, I don't know what aisle it's in. I have no idea how long it's going to take me in there. It's so much more efficient if she goes. But anyways, I open up the fridge. I look and there's no lettuce. So I was like, lettuce. She goes, what else? I started to look. I'm like, there's no meat. She's like, what else? I open up the fruit drawer. I see like a bag of lemons, literally a bag of lemons. I'm like, there's no fruit. She's like, exactly. What else? And I started just going down the list. She's like, I was just at the grocery store a few days ago. Now, look, my son, he's 12. He's growing. He likes to eat. He does a good job. He plays lots of sports. Kid is incredibly fit. He's built like a tank, but he's eating. But like, am I going to put it on him? No, I think that all of us have been eating and doing our thing. And the reality is we're consuming just like we would consume before. But for the amount of money that we spend on groceries, we're definitely not getting as much bang for our buck anymore. Which means that we're having to go back to the grocery store more often. And obviously grocery costs are going way up. And look, I'm sure you're dealing with the exact same situation. And really all I was trying to share there was a story about, opening up the fridge and realizing like all the spending that's being done, it's all mostly going to groceries. And all of these stories that we hear from people about having to, make a choice between like, putting food in their mouths or putting gas in the car or whatever, like it's so real. It's so very real right now that it's just really scary. And you wonder, where's it going to go when we get into the new year? And quite frankly, obviously nobody really has any answers for that. People are predicting that rates might go down in the spring. People are predicting the housing market might pop back up a little bit. But I mean, when you start to really dig in, we're getting taxed on everything. I mean, I saw an amazing post the other day, which I thought it was kind of comical. It was about the carbon tax. And it was something along the lines of, we can't fix world hunger or poverty. We can't get clean drinking water to some people on this earth. But this tax that we're being charged is somehow going to fix the climate. Like, we're going to fight climate change with a tax. And it started to really resonate. And you're thinking, like, that is funny. In fact, that's a fucking joke. In fact, we're getting hosed. And it's just another one of those things that I put on the shelf to say that this government's got to go. And now, again, a personal opinion over here. But I will say, if you vote for the Liberal government, especially if like the guy who's in power, that clown right now, I love the fact that you listen to the show, but I got to tell you, we don't see eye to eye on that. We really don't. I certainly hope you don't vote for that clown again. Now you got my opinion on him. But anyways, I think that all these taxes, I think we're paying lots and lots of money. I'm looking ahead to 24 and going again. What kind of predictions can we make? And I'm not some fortune teller, and I'm not going to try to sit here and make predictions about that. But I am going to say this. Okay, we are dealing with a different market. It got tougher after or sort of in the spring of 23, and we've seen it dipping ever since. Now, of course, when things go up, and I said this off the top of the show, things go up, they must come down. I said it the other way around, but I'm going to say it properly this time. Up goes down. Well, down must go up. And this is where I do see the optimism. I do see the opportunity coming. But when will it be here? That we don't know. So an action step here, okay? Because I can go on about the government. I could go on about all this. But really what I was trying to do is set the stage for we don't know what's going to be happening in the new year. You don't know what's going to be going on to impact your business. So we've got to recognize, and this is the action step, right? We've got to recognize that there are going to be external factors impacting our business in 24. We have very little control over them. But we do have total control over what we do. Okay, so again, you have no idea what's coming. You could sit back and lament. You could whine about it. You could go, oh my God, and talk about it. You could spend, aimless hours around a table with friends and family this holiday season complaining about it. But that ain't going to do jack shit for you to complain about it. So, although I might seem like I was complaining about it a moment ago, really what I'm trying to do is hit home on a point right now to say it doesn't matter. We need the strength, the desire, the discipline and the commitment to go after what we want. And we got a perfect opportunity coming up to do that. So you have all the power in the world to impact what you do, no matter what's going on out there. Know that. And I said, as I stay on this theme of sort of looking back to this past year, and I think about things that come up, one thing that stands out is that too many agents don't know what they're doing. Like, they're not salespeople. They have no idea what it takes to go out there and hunt for business, to go out there and follow up with business, how to actually do a deal. I mean, I sit around rooms and I listen to people ask questions and I watch. And one of the things that's standing out to me lately about a lot of agents that are in this business now is that, I've got to say this properly, they're all trying to cut deals. And if you just sat there and nodded your head and went like, obviously, man, Well, like, stay with me for a second. I'm not talking like do good real estate deals. I'm talking about trying to figure out how to lower commissions, how to give cash back, how to make themselves, do such a sale on whatever they're doing that they're going to, entice somebody because of just purely saving money. Now, if you look and say, well, what else should they be doing? Prove to your client how you're going to do the best job out there. Prove to your client why you bring value. Prove to your client that you know what's going on. Because if all you do is drop your prices and drop your commission and give cash back after the deal, all you're really doing is trying to get paperwork done for little bits of money. And then what you're doing is you're making an impact on this business that is not good for everybody, not good for anybody. Because that's where, again, buyers and sellers start to look and go, well, the agent I dealt with didn't know which way was up, really had no idea what was going on. All they do is move some paper around, and then they want to get paid. We're seeing a lot of those agents out there. And to me, those ones got to go. We see too many agents that are shady. Again, those back-end deals. I don't know. Discounts, offering cash back to get the deal done. Just not trained salespeople. They got to go. On another side, we're seeing a lot of posturing. It's still going on. And I guess maybe it'll always go on. But agents who think they're bigger than life. Yo. And I know you're not one, right? But it's not about you. That's the one thing that everybody's got to remember. It's not about you. These glamour shots and these just these videos like showing off watches or riches or walking on a private jet that you don't own, standing in front of a Lamborghini. I mean, this industry went wrong somewhere. And look, I'm a marketer. I'm about building mind share. I'm about people branding themselves and really growing that. But I believe that people need to recognize that what we're doing here is we're trying to help others. And in doing that, yes, we've got to market ourselves. But when you start looking bigger than life, when you start looking like you're just so popular, I think it puts a negative spin on what this industry is about. I think the bigger message outside of look at me and look at my brand. Look at my new logo. Look at my new rebranding. Look at my new photo. Look at my new colors. We got to change that messaging to look what I can do for you. Look what I do. Look at the value that I bring for you. Look at how I help you. And really try to, and I think I could even, as I word that, I could even spin that better and take the word I out of it. And just really try to change that narrative. And if you take anything away from this little comment right here, but it's try to figure out how you can change everything you're doing to make people realize that it's for them. See, because to me, this is why homeowners wonder why they spend so much money on agents. This is why people are wondering, is the agent even worthwhile to the transaction anymore? And then, I mentioned this when I was talking about, some of the past shows with Mr. Ray Ferris, but in comes Tressa. And all of a sudden agents are getting scared. But what are you getting scared about? You shouldn't be scared. All it's doing is presenting another way to do the business. It hasn't up and drastically changed anything. I mean, sure, well, I guess there's been a few drastic changes, but are they really for the negative? Are they really that bad? I'll still come back to it and say, look, there's options and people should have options. But I think if we were doing a better job training the people getting into this industry, that we wouldn't have as much of this fear, this posturing, this riffraff that's going on of people that shouldn't be in here. And I think it opens up the opportunity for all of us who are actually doing proper business, that understand the business, to do good business. I used to have a coaching client that used to say that. He says, Dave, I want to do good real estate. I love that. Doing good real estate. I think we should all be in that same motto, right? Now, when the market's tough, of course, trying to find a deal and trying to get things done, it's at the at the forefront of the most important thing we could be doing out there for ourselves. But at what cost? At what cost? And as we talk about what cost, I talked about mental health before. People posturing. I can't get over that. People treat each other like shit. People really treat each other like shit. And we need to have more respect for one another. If you give it, you'll get it. You won't always get it because there's just some bad apples out there. But the more you give respect, the more you're allowed to earn respect. You're allowed to ask for respect. You should just naturally receive respect. Because again, I'll say it, mental health matters. Yet we've got all these bigwigs who think their shit don't stink, who treat people like shit, who demand things instead of trying to work something. I mean, here, you've got a listing and you've got people come see the listing, right? They do the showings and then you go for feedback and they don't even answer your call. And if you're one of those people that does not give feedback, I want you to ask yourself a question. Do you deserve to receive feedback? See, if you don't give it, you shouldn't get it. Same thing I just said about respect. In fact, I'd say those two go hand in hand. Because once you have the feedback, you could go back to your seller and say, hey, this is the issue. This is why it's not moving. And this is what people are saying. Here's why we need to make a price adjustment. Or here's why we need to paint the walls. Or why we need to hire the cleaners. Whatever. When you get the feedback, you know it helps your cause. So if you want to start with giving some respect, start giving some feedback. It's one example. Treat each other better, okay? This is an opportunity now as we walk into a new year to start to just change our paradigm in the way we operate in this business and the way we operate in this industry, the way we operate with our colleagues and our peers. And I know, again, there's going to be a lot of them that don't deserve it. Those are the ones specifically I'm talking about. Get the hell out of the business. We are living in North America. We have a culture to the way we do business here. Everybody should be doing it somewhat the same. Therefore, there's a level playing field. People do good business. They have respect for each other. We know how to communicate with each other. Unfortunately, a lot of this, we do live in the wild, wild west. People just trying to get stuff done for their own self-serving purpose. And again, some of that, I get it. I understand it. Times are tough or whatever it be. We've got bills to pay. We got to get the deal done. I got you. But it's got to be done properly. So again, another action step here. Prove your value. Focus on what you really want. Okay, and I'm talking your personal goals. I'm talking the things you want in life. Work your relationships. Talk to people. Get out there and network with people. Be polite and respectful to people. Do that and just simply put, you're going to have success. Now, what's the alternative, Dave? Well, the alternative could be you're scrolling social media all day. You're not paying attention to what you want because you're spending time, you're wasting time in the wrong places. Would it be wasting time in the right places? I don't even know. Because if you're wasting time, you're wasting time. Let's just call it that, right? But put your time in the right places by speaking with people, by focusing on you. Understand where your time goes as opposed to aimlessly wasting it. And again, that's where success is going to come from. I mean, look, the same old always holds true. When you put in the work, you get the results. Now, results, happiness. I mean, look, to be happy, we need to recognize what we're accomplishing. We need to recognize that we are accomplishing. And I hear from brokers all the time. Agents don't like to work. They expect that the deals are just going to come. They expect that it's just going to happen. But you got to work. You've got to have a method of operation, a daily method of operation for how you operate. And again, that's something that I talk to and I work with my coaching clients all the time. That system and that process. What are we doing to get up? Because there's bigger challenges out there than just finding your next deal. And it really does come down to what your habits are. Well, how do I know if I'm working? How do I know if I'm being productive? Well, we map it out. We track it. We look at it regularly. And that's exactly what you need to do to have success. See, if I want to be happy, I need to know what I'm getting up to work for every single day. Because if I do, work becomes that much more appealing. Because I recognize that the more I work, the closer I get to achieving what I want. closer to get what I want. Then when I get what I want, I'm a happy guy. So again, you got to know what you're getting up for. Because once you do, doing the stuff that you may not want to do becomes that much easier. And as we think about that and we start looking ahead, as we're looking back on the year and we're looking ahead to the new year, years go by really, really fast these days. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's me just getting older. Maybe it's the connectivity that we have out there with each other. But like the year comes and goes like a blink of an eye. Now, in the moment, it certainly doesn't feel like that. But on a regular basis, that's kind of how our days feel. Like they go fast. And then we get to the end of the year, and again, we have that conversation with ourselves, wondering why we didn't achieve everything we wanted to achieve, why we're wondering why we didn't have that success, why we're not as happy as we want to be. So again, recognize what you want. Really put that into focus for yourself. It's not just money. It's not just the number of deals. But it's about you. How do you feel about the way you look when you look at yourself in the mirror? What's your mindset like? Is it one of positivity or negativity? You want a real good perspective on that? What kind of conversations do you hold when you're at a table with people, sitting around just having a meal? What kind of things do you talk about? Do you bitch and complain about the negative stuff going on in this world? Or do you talk about the good? Do you look at the optimism? And like, don't get me wrong, I'm a realist, okay? So I understand there's going to be bad. And I understand, yeah, sometimes you got to talk about that to get to the good. But again, what I'm saying to you is, where do you lean? Do you lean to the negative or do you lean to the positive? Are you bringing good energy or are you bringing bad energy to your conversations, to the people around you? Moreover, to yourself. Analyze that. Because that negativity stems from somewhere deeper rooted. And usually speaking, that's because you're not happy about something. And usually that's going to be you're not happy about you. So again, understanding what it is that you want, having a plan for how you're going to get there. We call this mapping, and this is a process we teach our coaching clients, right? How to map it out. And then when you start to achieve, and we're not talking you achieved over 365 days, we're talking like hour by hour. We're talking day by day. When you do that, you start to lift yourself up to another level. Another level that makes you happier, that makes you feel better, makes you feel more confident, makes you feel more successful. And confidence breeds success, and success breeds confidence. So again, the point here, know what you want. Put it in perspective. Don't just think about it. Write it down. Get it out of your head. Put it on a vision board. Put it on a list of goals. And then work towards that every single day. That's where you're going to find true happiness. That's where work is going to motivate you to keep going, no matter what kind of shady characters you run into out there, no matter what kind of problems you run into, no matter what the economy is doing. You're going to be focused on you. You're going to find ways to get there. That's step one. You got to focus on you. So look, as we look ahead, okay? As we look ahead to the new year, to 2024, I predict, and I this isn't some big magical crystal ball, but I do predict that we're going to continue with a tougher market. I mean, they're saying that 75% of mortgage renewals are coming up in the next 24 months. Yo, we are upon hard times. I'd say, I know, when I was a kid and my parents went through interest rates that were in the double digits, and some of you listening, might have gone through that. I was too young to fully understand that stuff. But as I sit here now talking about this has to be the hardest time in the economy that I've had to go through in my life. And maybe it's just because of my age and the responsibilities of having children and a household and businesses and everything else that goes on. But, shit is real. It's very real. And again, I think that over the next 24 months, it's going to be, just as hard. Now, people are predicting that, well, rates might come down a little bit in 24 in the spring. Well, yeah, they might. Maybe. I got no faith in this government. That's 1,000,000%. Like it's a hard stand. Like, put that one in concrete. No faith. But even if they come down a point, is that earth-shattering enough to all of a sudden spark everything and just make everything a perfect world? And in fact, if that happens, do people come out and start buying more? And then this whole thing that I brought up before of like this underbidding, do people start overbidding again? Well, I can't see that being a positive. Just go down a darker hole. So we're not in the clear here as the clock strikes, 12 and we move over to 24 and the ball drops and all that other stuff. We're not in the clear. We've got some time ahead of us, and this is where we brace for it. This is where we make sure that we know what it is that we've got ourselves in check. So again, action step to that. Your key to success is to be focused. It's to work hard. It's to do the shit that you don't want to do so you can have the success that you want to have. I know I shared a video about this recently, but the other day, we're and every morning we go through this routine, and I've told you my schedule, right? Like what I do is I will always have the first thing in my day is always looking at my goals. So it's called read, review. It says that in my calendar. Read the book, right? Review my goals. And it's a 30-minute little exercise I do in the mornings, right? You could call that like part of the meditation, right? Just getting yourself centered, getting yourself focused. And hell, way better than picking up social media, looking at all the bullshit that's out there. And listen, I am part of that bullshit. I know. We're on social media. And I'm not trying to knock, you and a lot of my people that are out there. What I'm saying is you get it. Okay, the gossip, the politicking, the God knows whatever of the posturing. That doesn't need to be the first thing we inject into our minds in a day, does it? Shouldn't be. And I know most people, that's what they do. You're probably sitting there going, yeah. But seriously. So anyways, okay, so I put this on social. Forgive me, I lost my train of thought for a quick second there. But read, review, that's where I was going. So read your book, review your goals instead of looking at social, instead of looking at email. Then for me, what I do is I spend time with my children. So the first 90 minutes of my day after that is spending time with my kids. And they're getting ready. They're bumbling around, getting ready for school, doing whatever. I'm getting myself a little bit centered, watching some sports. And I'm waiting for them to sit down. I got my coffee in hand. I want them to sit down, right next to me. And we just kind of hang for a little bit. And it's the best way to start the morning. It's like inject energy into me, my children. But as we're going to leave the house and my son walks out the door, my daughter's doing up her shoes, and my wife's like, yeah, okay, I'm headed out. I'm going to the gym, but I really don't want to go. And then she walks out the door, kiss goodbye. She walks out the door, and my daughter turns to me. She's like, Daddy, if she doesn't want to go, why is she going? Now, my daughter's 10. I turn to her and says, honey, in life, there's going to be a lot of things that are hard that you don't want to do because they're hard. But those are going to be the things that are most times are going to give you the results that you want. And so mommy doesn't want to go because it's hard. It's hard work. She's like, so why is she going? I said, because after the hard work is where she gets her results. And she just kind of looked at me. And I will continue to remind her of that message and that learning moment for the next, rest of her life probably. But I say it to you too. I say it to me too, right? Anything. It could be the gym. It could be working, making your phone calls, meeting with people, doing meetings, doing a video that you're not comfortable. Anything. The key to success is to work hard, is to get through the stuff that you don't want to do, because that's where success comes from, is once you get past that hard work. But the thing becomes now, unfortunately, people start putting in the work. Then they get tired of it because they're not getting the results they want so quickly. Then they fall off the rails. And they fall off the rails really early in the game. In fact, like so early that over the next, by mid-January, I think it's like, over 60% of people have fallen off their goals. Over 60% will have stopped because it just didn't come to them quick enough. Because the habits that they tried to implement, or they didn't even try to implement the habit, they just tried to make a change. But they didn't put in the effort. They weren't prepared for it. It's like today, everything is the same as it's always been. And all of a sudden, what, tomorrow it's just going to change and you're just going to be perfect at it? Oh, hell no. It is going to be tough. It is going to be a slug. It is going to be frustrating. But that right there is when you know you got to keep pushing. Because the minute you give up and you fall off those tracks, which again, over 60% of people will do, and by mid-January, and they will not get back on, well, they will not have what they want by the end of the year. And then by the time they get to this point next year, it's going to be the same old song and dance. And that's why people don't achieve. So right now, what I'm saying to you right now, I want you to get your goals in check. I want you to understand what it is that you want. I want to motivate you right now to get started right now. Look, we don't go into anything not being prepared. You don't go into a listing presentation without being prepared. You don't go and meet with clients without being prepared. You don't go to play sports without practicing and being prepared and getting warmed up. I could use a ton of analogies. This right now, this time before the new year, this is your warm-up. This way, by the time the new year starts, we're on a train that is already flying down the tracks. There's no shot anybody's keeping up with us. No shot. See, because again, most people are going to wait till about the first week of the year to start. Why? Because they're getting over the holiday hangover. It took them a little time to get reacclimated with the new year, to get over those holidays, to get back from vacation or whatever it is, the downtime. And look, yeah, take your downtime and enjoy it. All I'm saying here is if you had the opportunity to start a race with an unfair advantage that was totally allowed, where you just got started early and you got out the gate before everybody else, by the time they started, you're so far ahead that they're not going to catch up. Would you take it? I certainly would. So your mission is to start right now. Start with your goals. Start with the new routine. Don't wait till January. Do it now, right now. Start ahead of schedule so you have a little bit of time to adjust. You can make that adjustment period. You can figure out where things aren't really working for you. You can figure out what you can do better. And this way, by the time January rolls around, you are flying. That is your mission. And I challenge you to make it happen. On behalf of my entire crew here at Kits and Mindshare 101, along with my entire family, I want to wish you and yours nothing but the best for an amazing year ahead. A happy holiday to you, and I want to thank you for tuning in to Season 5 of the Mindshare Podcast. You're either listening to this on one of your favorite podcast platforms, or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle, our 31-page ebook, including your free 90-day social media content counter to help you build more mindshare so that you get more market share. A reminder as well that if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching, an in-person keynote talk for your upcoming event, and or ongoing virtual training, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a consultation call, learn more about what you're looking to achieve, and how we will help you do just that. For all inquiries, just get in touch with us today. And don't forget to leave a review of this podcast at www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan101. Again, I want to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems and REM Magazine for sponsoring the Mindshare podcast. Be sure to visit our site to learn more about what these powerful companies will do to help you grow your business. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.